Hello everybody, this is Nick Newman with RPG Mastery, and I wanted to follow up on another video that I just made talking about advanced game mastering. This technique pushed me past being, really, to be blatant and honest with you, a shitty game master to an alright game master. It didn't make me amazing, but it really pushed me. I could tell once I started using this technique that it really pushed my games to a higher level. Of course, you need, before you can do this, you need to make sure that your campaign has some kind of overarching story. And when I say that, I don't mean that you have created scenarios in your head like this is how you want it to play out, this is what you want your characters to do, this is what, like, not like that. Like, more so you have to have the idea, the concept of your villain and all of their schemes meshed out properly. That's how I do it. When I say I write campaigns, I'm not really writing a whole storyline. I'm writing the things that I know my villain is doing systematically, one step at a time. That's a big difference right there to running a campaign versus a one-shot. And it'll make your game a lot more intense and more realistic, funny enough. But basically the idea is that once you have that idea, like, you know that your big bad guy is, you know, maybe he's created some kind of machine that's going to harvest the souls of all humanity or all life on your planet or whatever, or the universe. You've got that, right? You've got the inner circle. You know that the bad guy needs these components for his machine. Great. Fantastic. That's all you need. And maybe if we want to go further, we want to talk about, like, why. We got to think, why does the bad guy want this? Like, what happened? What went so wrong in his life or her life that they decided that this is the end-all be-all answer? I got to rip out all the souls of all the living people. But, you know, once you get that figured out, then you can apply this technique. And the technique is basically, you want to set up the world in such a way that your players have autonomy. And autonomy means that they make their own choices. You set up the world so that they're making their own choices. And instead of governing missions and stuff that they're going on, you want to create scenarios that are guaranteed to happen. Okay? For example, instead of sitting down and writing out the whole mission, a big mission for the night, and this is what the players are going to do, we can't deviate from it, and you lock yourself into this linear path that you pray that your players will follow. Instead, let the players do whatever they want. Okay? Let them make the decisions where they want to go, and make sure that you've had enough of the world kind of explained to them in such a way that they can get an idea of how they want to travel. And usually people will use this to get stronger. They'll be like, I want to go here to get stronger. And let them do that. But along the way, make sure that you have your game planned out. So what I do is I can actually reach for, hold on, in my office here. Let's use this. Basically, when I run here's a notebook, a campaign notebook that I use for my online campaign. Okay. And I'll go over a perfect explanation of this in just a second. Sorry, I wasn't completely prepared to use this. But I believe this will really drive the lesson home. Basically, I have... This is an example. I have the notes written from what happened last time. Okay, last session. And then, after I make sure I've got my last session notes written down, I write down notes, triggered events that I want to happen. You want to imagine these kind of like cutscenes in a video game, except they're not. They're interactive. So players can engage and talk and try to kill or help whatever situation is happening, right? So like this, for example, this is about the party staying in this town, and the town is called Blackwater. And I had just watched some. This is when Red Dead Redemption was big, and I was playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption. So I made this like little cowboy town, you know. And funny enough, nobody was like, "Hey Nick, are you ripping Red Dead Redemption off?" Nobody caught on to that was my inspiration. But besides that, I was like, this town is called Blackwater. The players were stationed in this town, and that's about it. Whatever they wanted to do, they could do. However, I made sure that somehow, before they left the town or something like that, one of the players would see one of the noble's sons go inside and harass the barmaid. Okay? I made sure that he had a little bit of a posse. That way, if the players wanted to scrap and defend the barmaid, they could fight him. But I made it to a point that this character was the son of the lord of the city or the town that they were in, the Lord of Blackwater. And basically, this guy wrote all the rules and like all the laws and all that stuff. He could execute people if he wanted to. And of course, their kids, his son was spoiled and kept a ragtag gang of teenagers with him. And it didn't matter what the players were doing. It didn't matter if they engaged or not. That was going to happen. One of them, I promised myself, one of them was going to see this barmaid get tormented by this 13-year-old prick and his posse. And that was it. And that creates, when you do stuff like that, I find it creates organic gameplay in that the players don't know what rhyme or reason you're doing it. They just know that it's happening and that they're a part of it, and it's going to happen whether they're there or not. And so at that point, I can tell you what happened. They were on a mission to they were just traveling through this. I did not restrain them. I did not tie them down and force them to engage and do this. I didn't tell them that they had to play their characters in this way. They chose, after seeing this situation, they chose to intervene and help out the city. Crazy enough. And they had more fun because they decided they wanted to do that, and they knew they knew and they still know that I was the type of game master that if they weren't interested in solving this situation, they could just leave. I would have another situation that would pop up in front of them, and maybe I'd write a note like, for example, one of the characters in my campaign is an Inquisitor, and he came from this place called Steel Chapel. He made his own city in the game, and I wrote that down. I made it part of the world, and but he wanted an enemy, because I ask players often, like, do they have any enemies or family or friends, like, and he told me he had a rival named Bellet, who was an Inquisitor for the Iron Angels, and these are an Aasimar clan basically of Inquisitors. And but this guy's bad. He stole what I call the Codex Infernium, like the dark book that allows you to like use magic and make deals with Asmodeus. But I had a note in my book. All I had was Bellet shows up, and I want to make sure that Bellet wants something. And all Bellet wanted was to basically intimidate Dominic, which is the name of the character. He just wanted to intimidate Dominic and tell him that he was fighting for the wrong side of the war between the elves and the humans. And that's it. That's all. I was like, he's gonna find them. I don't know how yet. He's just gonna arrive. And as a game master, you have awesome, infinite, cosmic power. So use it. I mean, you don't have to have a rhyme or reason for everything, but you have to have the confidence that you can come up with the rhyme or reason if it's asked. And that was very simple. The players engaged with the teenagers that were messing with the barmaiden. They put them in their place, actually took them out into the woods and executed them. And then that led to more drama where Lord Black is looking for his kids, but the people of the city aren't going to give that information to Lord Black because the kids were heathens and awful. All they would do was terrorize the townspeople. So Lord Black's men are searching for the assassins that executed the kids, and so they left. And in between that point and their journey towards the city that they were trying to go to, boom, I made sure that my note for them to interact with Bellet happened. And so during the middle of, between the war, the lines of combat between the cities, basically there's a big campaign area where they're fighting a consistent war. I made sure that Bellet arrived, kicked some of the human asses that were there, and intimidated the party, showing that he would kill them if necessary. And they created a lot of intense drama. And they actually just agreed with Bellet, and they were like, you're right, we're not sure if we're fighting on the right side. But that's all I needed. I didn't need any missions or anything like that. I didn't need any of that. I just needed stuff to happen, because the players on their own accord decided what they wanted to do. And in this case, they wanted to go to enlist in the military, and they wanted to get their acre of land and gold that was promised to anybody who would enlist. That was all they wanted to do from traveling, but they had to travel from point A to B to C to do that, you know. And my job was to make that point, that travel, entertaining. One of the cities they went to, there was just a street fight in the middle of the street between two friends, one of which had sex with his sister, and because he found out he had sex with his sister, they had a fist fight in the middle of the street, and the party actually helped break up the fist fight. And then they inquired about what the dynamic was between these two friends that kept fighting each other. And all the while, one of the other friends is hitting on one of the party members. And that felt organic. That's all I wrote, is I wanted like their interaction from this city to make sure that they saw a fist fight in the middle of the street. And that's it. And that style of running campaigns really, really can bring freedom and life to your campaign. And that's kind of what I wanted to elaborate on from the last video. Again, these videos are going to be a lot about advanced game mastering, stuff that I feel people don't talk about, or maybe they hoard these secrets because they want to make sure that their games are really tight and better than everyone else's. But if I find a secret, I'll tell you guys, and that is one that will elevate your game to a whole new level. It'll make it feel alive, and everybody will play with autonomy, and it'll feel great. And just as long as you cater to the things they're trying to get, you're gonna have a good time. Always maintain hope, you know. Make sure that there's hope for them, your players, to have a happy ending, or to get the power that they want, or to get a position that they want, or whatever that they're trying to get. Make sure there's hope, and along the way throw just train wrecks of chaos, and they will freely detour themselves to handle that stuff. And if you can make those little scenarios overtie with the large arc of what the villain's doing, then every little thing seems interconnected and on purpose, even though it wasn't supposed to be interconnected. Alright, but this is Nick Newman with RPG Mastery. Thank you guys for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. It helps me a lot, and I'm trying to push my subscribers up and do these videos more often. So thank you very much. This is Nick Newman with RPG Mastery. Comment, like, subscribe. I know I just said that. But remember to stay calm and roll 20.